Well, good morning, everybody. Danny and Wanda back from Pecan Grove. We had a morning this morning. It was 66 degrees, and I first started off working in the shop before daylight because it was so cool. And I told Wanda, I said, nope, I'm headed to the field. We're gonna dig them sweet potatoes because we have been putting it off because of the freaking heat, you know.
Well, this morning it was Mom's birthday, so I spent time with her, talking to her.
We didn't get this morning video with me. I come out here first. I was gonna hand pull all the vines off, and that ain't happening. Not thick as them jokers was. So I got the tractor and the bush hog, and I ran over the top of them, and I just clipped the tops of the vines off on them. My cows has got plenty of stuff to eat in the fields. I'm not worried about having something to feed them. So then I went and put the middle buster on, and I busted this first row open. And guys, my heart sunk. I didn't even get a half of a 5-gallon bucket on the first row of sweet potatoes. This is all swamp down in here below me. There's running water all down through that right down in yonder. This is just a big branch comes out of the ground, runs with a nice stream running. Well, what happened is the rats came out of the woods, and they went underneath them vines down them rows, and they ate predominantly most of my sweet potatoes. And what they didn't eat, they eat into, and then they rotted. I found it on how many of them just rotten. But I was able to salvage a few on this top row, and then I moved down and plowed the second row. Well, the second row, I got more off of the second row than I did the first row. Don't ask me why, I don't know. They didn't hit the second row like they did the first row. Even though on the second row I still did not get anything like what I should. There's places they nibbled in a lot of them, and then they just rotted. So I only got probably, if I get 2 5-gallon buckets out of this garden, I will be lucky. Now, you can see here, if I can get down here, you can see here, they chewed the sides out of the potatoes like this right here. And then, because we haven't been able to get in here to them to get them out of the ground, all this extreme heat we've been having, they just rotted. And then some of them like this, they ate them off on both ends. They just chewed them off. And I got this one before it rotted. But, you know, this is not a good harvest. I mean, what we're going to end up with here is we're going to end up with a lot of rabbit food. You know, stuff like this can go to the rabbits because they'll enjoy that. But as far as, you know, nice potatoes, we only got a few of them. Like that one, see, they ate the top off of this one here. They was working on that one. So we're thankful that we got what we got, but we're very disappointed that, I mean, there's another one there. They ate the whole top out of it. You know, it's very, very disheartening when you depend on something like we did the sweet potatoes here. But I will say this, to show you how God works in things. Azure Standard had contacted us and told us that there was a drop, you know, within 45 minutes of us, and asked us would we be interested in purchasing some stuff from them. And one of the things that Wanda picked was a 20-pound box of cubed up sweet potatoes that's already frozen for me to try to see how they tasted and what they was like. And they actually turned out being very well. And to me, I look at it like God knew these potatoes was not going to be here. So he opened up an avenue for us to be able to get good quality sweet potatoes so that we could still have our sweet potatoes to eat on a regular basis, even though we had a crop failure. Now, this is one of the things I like to mention to people. You know, we did everything right. Y'all know me. For years I was known as the sweet potato king, you know, because I grew so many sweet potatoes. But you can do everything right. Like, see this one here? That's rotten. They eat it off as pure rotten. There. Not fit for nothing. here's another one right here. They chewed the end off of it, and then the other part of the potato began to rot. Now the rabbits can eat the rest of it off, but. And then here was the other thing. Because we didn't get them out of the ground in time, it was over the 125 days, and I had cut some of the vines back so we could see the sweet potatoes. They start sprouting within a week, you know, so that's another reason right there why we don't come in and just jerk all of our vines off and leave them and then come back and try to harvest them later on. It's just because that right there is why. But life goes on, guys. You can't just quit because things don't go right. You got to keep on keeping on and trying to do. I mean, they should have all been like that right there. Look at that. That is like the perfect sweet potato right there. Beautiful, perfect. And we got a few of them, and I believe these are the Evangelines. They look like the Mr. Owl potatoes to me that we got from Mr. Owl, the Evangelines, because they're long and straight potatoes, great baking potatoes. I believe they were created at the University of Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken. But I just thought this morning I would, there's another one right there, eat the top out of it. More here. This is what makes you sick when you pull up a plant like this. And look at this, see how that's rotten, pure rotten, where they've ate the sides off of it. Now we can probably cut it off right here. It's probably still good up in there, but that's what happens, guys, when you rats get into your stuff. Eat the ends off of that one. We just thought we'd take you along this morning, just show you not everything is always a success when you do stuff. Sometimes life just happens, and you gotta thank the good Lord for what you have and move on. Now I do have 2 more rows right here that I planted really late that I don't know if they'll make or not, if the rats will get them. I have no clue. They're growing fairly decent. And then over there in that corner,
amid all those weeds,
amid all the ragweeds, is sweet potatoes in there, and I have no idea if there's anything in there or not. I guess one day when it's cool enough, I'll take the panels down and we'll see. Now here is the 60-foot raised bed right here. I'm coming right here because I can look right here. And you see this right here?
It's cracking.
You see how that ground's all cracking up right there?
See if we got any taters under
There's
there.
taters under there. There's one sticking up right there.
Pull that one, see. If you can.
I don't know if I can get that tater up.
It looks like a good tater.
I don't want to
I'm
break
just curious that the rats hadn't got into these.
If I ever get it where I can get my hand to hold to it. It's long, I can tell you that.
I can tell it's long just from you wiggling. And big.
It not wanting to. It don't want to turn loose.
Good Lord, look at that. And then you still broke
and I
the
just
tip.
still broke the tip off of it, yeah.
Now that is a sweet potato.
That's a nice sweet potato right there.
So maybe the 60-foot raised bed might be our hope. We'll see.
It's possible, we'll see.
We're digging these soon too?
Yes, we're going to have to go ahead. We can't take a chance on chicken just laid an egg. Them young chickens get all excited when they lay an egg. The old chickens just go on about their business. But yeah, we're going to have to dig these pretty soon so that we don't run the risk of maybe the rats getting all of them. Oh, they're down real deep in there.
You're going to have the fork.
I'm going to have to have the fork on them. This one's just lucky enough I could get it from the top. Now this is the Mr. Owl potatoes, because you can look how purple they are.
Yeah.
Dark orange flesh. All right, let me get the rest of these taters picked up, guys, and check out As Your Standard. We got a link. If you want to buy through them, you can go through our link. Get you in anyway, get you some good food. We've enjoyed what we got from As Your Standard. Thank you guys from Pecan Grove. Alright, guys, I just plowed up 3 eggs right here in my sweet potatoes. I don't know what this is. I ain't never plowed no eggs up in my sweet potatoes. I was picking up my sweet potatoes and I'm looking, here's 3 eggs.
And you notice I'm backing off because I don't know what's coming out of them.
They were under the dirt. I don't know if they're snake eggs. Snake gives birth to live ones, or I don't know what this is. I'm being honest.
Could be a little bird of some sort.
No, these were under the soil.
Oh, so it'd be reptilian probably.
It's reptilian because it was under the soil because they plowed up out of the dirt.
You need something?
They're rubbery. Oh, that one busted.
Okay, I'm gonna zoom in because I really don't.
All right, let me do this. I ain't touching it with my hands. I just ain't gonna do it. It looks like fish eggs, but
It'd be hard to say then. It would probably be a snake.
no, there it is right there, whatever it is. It's a one of these snapping turtles. Trying to get him to balance. See his shell in his head?
Yeah. So you found turtle eggs. You gonna save the turtles?
That doesn't look like them old snapping turtles, the way his shell is. He come up out of it. Remember the swamp is right there.
Yeah, it's probably a snapping turtle.
He came up here and laid eggs up under my sweet potatoes.
And probably eat some of them.
Well, I'm wondering if he wasn't coming up here eating sweet potato vines.
Instead of a snake or rats. Because he was eating from the top down, wasn't he?
Yeah. Huh.
So maybe it's a turtle.
Might have been turtles.
You're blaming a rat. A rat looks like would go underground and eat the bottom up. This was the top down.
This was eating from the top down. I guess with that swamp being right there.
So it might be a turtle.
It might be a turtle. I don't like turtles. I hate
So,
turtles.
not these kind. These bite.
Yeah, these are the kind that, yep, there's another one right there.
Do damage.
Baby turtles. Oh, I'll be doggone.
So
I'm
now
65 years old. It's the first time I ever plowed up turtles in my field.
And so now the sweet potato saga is
Might have been turtles.
because rats would have eaten. I wonder because they always eat the bottom up
Yeah, these had bites out of them, and then they would rot.
from the top because they
From
were
the top.
eating the plant off.
Because they were eating the plants off. And, well, I know I won't plant sweet potatoes down by the swamp no more. I'll have to go up on top of the hill up here in the fields up here where there's no woods around anywhere or anything. And, you live and learn. Okay, some questions was asked last time we did a video on sweet potatoes about morning glories. I was pulling up the morning glories out of my sweet potatoes and people goes, I thought sweet potatoes was in the morning glory family. Well, they are in the morning glory family. They both have the same kind of flowers on them. But let me pull this one up right here. This is a morning glory. This is not a sweet potato. It looks like a sweet potato. It has a vine like a sweet potato. It has a leaf like a sweet potato, but it's not a sweet potato. A sweet potato is in the morning glory family because they bloom a lot alike. The flowers look a lot alike. These things here are very invasive. You do not want them in your garden. Don't ever plant morning glories on your property. Now,
These are wild.
Yeah, they're wild. I'm looking here. Miss Wanda has butter beans, dry butter beans laying everywhere.
I'm starting to get some dried ones.
These, I mean, would be good for like planting next year because they've acclimated more to our
probably
to our environment because they're in here everywhere. I'm looking, man, good Lord.
I didn't get out here 3 or 4 days ago.
Well, the heat. This is what happens when you heat, but they're not lost because we can plant them next year. I'm seeing them all up in there.
And then
if it rains on this right here, these will sprout.
Yeah, I'm picking what's ready now, and I probably out of this little bed and you've got one tub of up in the front.
Beans,
oh, they are nice.
Boy, those are nice.
The one tub up front and this little small patch, I've gotten enough. I've eaten 3 times out of, and that's 2 meals each time I cook them.
Boy, those are some good butter beans.
And so these are nice. These are the Hendersons.
Yeah, these are the Hendersons. I remember I'm the one who planted them. I know. I stuck them in the ground down here. It was so hot and dry. I said, these things ain't never going to come up.
And
it rained right after I did it, and they popped out of the ground.
It doesn't take many to have some to eat. Plus, you can save the seeds, like you said here. I mean, with these, the ones you miss are your seeds.
Yeah, you just look at the butter beans on these things. These things are so prolific, and these have had no moisture hardly whatsoever down here in this raised bed.
But butter beans don't need a lot.
They don't need a lot of rain, but if they'd have had just a little bit more water, these things would have.
I mean, look at that one bush, what you've got there.
It's just literally loaded with beans. And your biggest butter beans are always going to be right up under the bottom first.
And I've done pick 3 times.
Yeah. There's another big one right there. Boy, look at that. Man. Ooh. You can't beat good old butter beans.
And y'all.
And you know what? You can, if you had to, and you couldn't get out to pick them, and they all dried, you can pick them and you can cook them just like dry beans.
They are dry beans, yeah.
They're the same thing. They're the same exact thing.
And so, y'all.
You can't freak out.
I picked this side and called Danny over to show y'all the morning glories, and guess what? He's picking the other side of my beans. I ain't complaining.
Yeah, I gotta go get busy. This is your job.
I like when you pick my beans.
Yeah, I'm gonna get them all though.
Well, I just got started.
But anyway, you got some up front up yonder too.
Yeah, I got to go get out of the tub.
Out of the tub. You might show the comparison to the raised bed and the ones that's raised in the big old nursery tubs.
No, I picked those yesterday.
Did you?
I did. I picked the nursery tub yesterday.
Okay. Okay.
So, I mean, they do good, both raised bed and the tubs, but I'll go show them the tub. I only planted like 3 or 4 plants in there, and I've gotten...
Oh, you picked a lot.
Several handfuls every 3 or 4 days off of them.
Yeah. And I see another morning
And
glory.
see, I take and save them.
Another morning glory.
I shell them out, put them in a Ziploc bag, put them in the freezer until I have enough for a mess. It usually takes about a week between both places. And that's enough for me to have at least 2 meals when I cook.
When you shell these out now, you make sure you separate them seeds out and put Henderson in a bag so we can and put the year.
So we know we saved these seeds.
Yeah, and put Pecan Grove on it.
Yeah.
That way.
And look at the blooms.
Oh,
I mean,
look, butter beans. Let me tell you something about butter beans. When my mom and daddy was alive, I went out and stayed with them a while. Because they had strokes and everything, couldn't take care of themselves. And I went behind Daddy's house and I tilled up a place back there. And I planted butter beans. And I'm going to tell you what, Christmas Day, I brought in...
That was Christmas 2012.
2000 and...
It'd been 12.
12. I brought 2 5-gallon bucketfuls of butter beans in and set them on the floor in front of my daddy. And it had been frosting like crazy for weeks. And he said, son, I'm 86 or 85 then. He said, I ain't never seen a butter bean grow through the frost. He said, what have you done to make them butter beans still produce like this? I said, Daddy, remember when I was mowing your yard with that grass catcher on the lawnmower and I just kept piling that grass in the garden and you kept fussing at me telling me that all I'm doing is putting more seeds out there in that garden. I ain't never going to harvest nothing. I said, I had that grass about 6 to 8 inches deep on that ground, all between all them rows in there. I said, that green grass is nitrogen. It turns into nitrogen when it goes into soil, and when it dies down, it rots on the ground. The ground does not dry out. The heat coming up from it has protected those plants through those frosts. And I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm fixing to go out there and pull them up because I'm tired of picking them. And he said, well, I'm 80-something years old and I've never seen that. He said, we always planted butter beans in the spring and picked them in the heat of the summer. And you planted them in the heat of the summer and picking them during the winter time. He said, son, you've always done everything just backwards the way I've always thought it's supposed to be done. I said, Daddy, just because we have always done something a specific way doesn't mean it's the only way to do it. And he said, well, I guess you're right, son. And we shelled butter beans Christmas Day.
Alright, this is the pot that I have some more Henderson butter beans. I only planted 4 or 5 in here. And I took most of the bad leaves off yesterday to give it some room to grow, because you see grasshoppers and things are coming in and eating. But I picked yesterday, and look at the beans. And all the new growth. So I've been taking like this. This leaf is never going to do anything. The bugs are getting it. And I just take the bad ones off. And I keep this watered because the well house is right there. And I water this almost every day. Even though butter beans don't need a lot, they need some, especially in a pot. And you can see they're just hanging. They are doing really, really good in this pot, even with the bugs. And there's one that's overlooked me, or I overlooked. Nice. That one's getting ready. Even since yesterday, some of them are starting to fill on out, because I don't pick them until they get pretty full. And these are going to do good. Sometimes you can pick every day, but I usually don't. I come out every 2 to 3 days and give them time to just really fill out before I start picking, even in the tops. And it was starting to put on more blooms, but it looks like the heat got those. So I don't know that it's going to do any good down up there. But you can see in here the blooms, if they pop on out, it'll be loaded again. From about 20 dried butterbean hulls, these are the Henderson, I ended up with more than I would get out of a pack if you order them. So I've already made my seed back, plus we've eaten out of these butter beans 3 times, 2 meals each, and I've got enough for another couple of meals, and they're still producing, guys. Wow, made my seed back already.